it's just different than anybody. I'm slow at things. Like, I'm tired a lot. It's like pretty much other people can do like 50 times some, like 50, and me, I just look at the board like, huh, what? Like, I have no clue what it means.
JC's first seizure, I did not see it. She woke up off the couch. She was sleeping on the couch, and I know she had had an accident on the couch. And so I tried waking her up, and she was just real lethargic and couldn't talk, and she had slurred words, and I couldn't get her to walk. So that's when we called 911. We started the testing for the brain surgery, which was a PET scan, a SPECT scan, multiple MRIs, just all sorts of tests to see, where the area of the brain it was coming from. All that led up to knowing where the seizure was coming from, and that she had an area of her brain that was dead in her temporal lobe. So they ended up removing part of the temporal lobe, the amygdala, the hippocampus, for her first surgery. And that was a 9-hour surgery. So then she went a few months seizure-free. She said she was still having some strange feelings. The auras were different. They weren't the feelings of somewhere she'd been before, the nauseous feelings. They were just a little bit different. But the doctors still said that they thought she was doing fine. Then in March of the following year, she ended up having another seizure at school.
I was in 5th grade. I was pretty much just sitting in class, and all I remember is having a girl next to me hand me a eraser because I needed it. And also I'm just sitting there staring, and the girl is saying my name, and then I hear her talk to the teacher, and then that's all I remember.
Where she had to be flown by care flight to Columbus because the seizure wouldn't stop, which is called status. So that kind of threw into another loop of being in status, as you have to have your emergency medicine handy so you can not go into status. So she would have a nasal medication that she would have to have given to her when she would have a seizure to make sure that she wasn't going into an extra long seizure. So once they did that, they realized the seizure area had grown and it spread to other parts of the temporal lobe. So we ended up doing more testing again, and having the rest of the temporal lobe that they could take out. That was another 8 to 9 hour surgery for that one. And it seemed to work pretty good for the first couple months. But then again, she started having a different kind of aura, which was a buzzing sensation.
Like in my ears, it'd be like a bee inside my ear. And then I would start having like a certain type of taste and a smell. And then pretty much you don't know what's going on. Like, you just go straight into a seizure. You're shaking. You're drooling. Your eyes go back in your head. It's just, you have no clue what's even going on sometimes. So yeah, pretty much just tons of people are staring at you. It's really embarrassing.
JC's triggers typically, when she was younger, it used to be a lot of different things before the surgeries. Heat would be one of them. She couldn't get overheated. As soon as she'd be hot, she'd have a seizure. If she would be overactive, she'd have a seizure. Lack of sleep. Lots of sugar always seemed to trigger the seizures. So she would always tend to have them around her birthday. Now that she's older, it seems to be definitely lack of sleep and stress seem to be the two main things, and high carbohydrates.
I can't go to college. It's not easy for me to move out. It kind of feels like I'm lonely sometimes. Because like I have friends, but they're always busy with work, and sometimes they're in like school, college.
So not every person that has epilepsy can't go to college or can't learn. It's the fact that when JC was still in her learning period, and so beginning learning was, kindergarten, she was having so many auras that everything she would learn she would forget right away, because every time she had an aura, which is considered a seizure, she would forget everything she learned. She couldn't even tell you what she had for lunch when she came home from school. So, up until about the 6th grade, when she had actually had that surgery, the first surgery, most of the stuff she had was learning, she was forgetting right away. So that, again, made her not be able to learn like other kids were learning. So she was much slower. Then once they removed that temporal lobe, that delayed her learning too, just because, it's your long-term memory, short-term memory. The amygdala and hippocampus both have parts of your learning that, she was not able to learn like you and I. So she was quite delayed. So that is one of the reasons too why she, doesn't go to college, or she can only work, a few hours a day too, because the stress of being at work, she has to think twice as hard as you or I. So thinking so hard to remember what to do at a job then causes her to have a seizure, because her brain's working twice as hard as you and I.